I the a-hole for telling my wife to divorce me because I am not forcing adoption on my daughter? I, 33-year-old male, have an 8-year-old daughter, Ella, with my ex, and I have full custody of her. I'm married to Laura, 30-year-old female, and we have 2 kids together. Ella's mom is a train wreck. Alcohol, substance abuse, multiple arrests, and a lot of personal issues. She hasn't seen Ella for around a year now. She did have supervised visits ordered by the court, but she didn't always make those due to hospitalizations, arrests, and such. I've been dating Laura since Ella was 2 years old. So she's very familiar with Laura, but Ella doesn't call her mom, and she still loves her mom and wishes her mom would get better and be a real mom to her. I have Ella in therapy to help her process everything. Laura knew how things were when we started dating, and she knew how it was when we got married. I always made it clear that my priority was Ella's safety, health, and happiness, and I told her I understood if it got to be too much and she didn't want to commit. But she said that she was on board for it all. Only now, she's tired of my ex reappearing ever so often and she wants to adopt Ella, so my ex can't have any access ever again. She does love Ella and sees her as hers as much as mine. But the main reason she's being so forceful is severing my ex's rights will get her out of the picture until Ella's 18 and chooses to look for her mom on her own. Laura says this is what's best for her and for all of us. But Ella doesn't want to be adopted by Laura, even if her mom never gets better. She doesn't want to be adopted. I respect this and I won't force it. But Laura isn't happy. She said we have the other 2 kids to think about as well and how Ella might pull away from us if her mom causes more trouble in the future. And she might choose her over us. I said that could happen even if she adopts her. And I said it will definitely happen if we force this. Laura and I have discussed this numerous times now, and she told me she doesn't see our marriage surviving if I won't talk Ella around or let her do it, or get a therapist who will. She said she will not keep just being the stepmom when Ella's mom won't put her first while she has been, but doesn't get the benefit of the legal stability of adoption. She said I only had 2 options and needed to decide which I wanted. I told her to divorce me then because I'm not forcing the adoption on Ella. Laura didn't expect my answer and she told me she thought I'd offer to speak to Ella more. She said that I clearly don't care about our marriage. I said I do, but she gave me 2 options and one option is never happening and I can't control if she divorces me for it. Am I the a-hole? Sir, I'm not sure if you're the a-hole or not for suggesting the divorce as an option, but your wife? She's completely out of pocket to suggest that she adopts your 8-year-old daughter. She is your wife, right? Then by law, she's already a parent to your daughter. She's the step parent, legally. So there's no legal reason for her to adopt your daughter, and it has nothing to do with age. What wifey really wants is to X out your child's biological mother from your life. You said yourself that your daughter still loves her mother, right? Regardless of the substance abuse, and that she's present in your daughter's life, just not consistently. Why take away the only part of Ella's mom that she has now? Your wife knows that you once loved your ex, and y'all had a child together. And that's only 8 years ago. I'm willing to bet that in your wife's mind, she's thinking, what if the ex gets clean? Will she start coming around more? Will she be a better mom to Ella? And more importantly, will you want her back? These are legitimate concerns, but to suggest something permanent like adoption, it's giving more about your ex and not your daughter. If your wife can't get past her own insecurities, then a conversation definitely needs to be had. But, sir, Your answer was, divorce me then, ho. No, actually, you didn't say it that way. But it sounds like that was the sentiment. I get that you love your daughter and refuses to let anyone come between the bond you built with her. But either the bond you had with your wife is not as solid, or you have a my way or the highway frame of mind in this situation. My advice is that you sit down with your wife and let her know that adoption is not an option, that your daughter doesn't want it and neither do you. Let her know that there's no scenario where you're going to cut off access to your ex. Together, you and your wife's going to have to decide on the best way to move forward in your marriage together. Adoption is off the table and divorce is off the table as well. I don't have the answer to how you guys actually go about keeping your blended family together, but I would like to suggest marriage counseling, especially since you've already embraced therapy for your daughter, which, by the way, I'd like to commend you for that. It's going to be difficult to co-parent with Ella's mom, mainly because of the addiction and all the issues that come along with it. But it's not impossible to have a healthy co-parenting situation where Ella gets to continue seeing her mom and your wife's acceptance of their bond is realized. Your wife knew this was a package deal, and unfortunately for her, Ella's mom is part of that package. So try to understand your wife's reasoning behind wanting adoption. Although you nor I agree with it, it sounds like she could be wanting it for Ella's sake. So she's not being constantly disappointed by her mother's absence. However, the disappointment of having her mom removed from her life altogether could have even more devastating consequences. I'm so glad Ella has you to honor her wishes while keeping her best interests in mind. You're definitely not an a-hole for rejecting the idea of adopting Ella. In fact, you sound like a really great dad. Well, guys, that's my take on this. What are your thoughts? Let's continue the conversation in the comments. And until next time, y'all be careful out here in these YouTube streets.
Because marriage, I think of like the partner that God assigned for me, not the woman I picked, not the one that's my preferences and that I like. Like this really the partner that's supposed to help me fulfill God work. So it's like when I talk about what I want and me wanting to leave and how I feel, then it's like now my feelings more important than God work. So it's like we ain't got I done seen them old school couples where they done stop sleeping in the same room. They done stop, but God work still come before how they feel about each other and what they looking at and what they used to see in each other 30 years ago. And that's how I view marriage. You feel me? So it's like, that's why for me, divorce not an option. Cause it's like, bruh, divorce is what we want, bruh. But we were sent and paired together for an assignment.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.